What's the story behind the title? One.
Big story, actually, because at one point was going to be the title track for the album. I really love this sort of singularity of it. I love the fact that it was powerful. There was a track on which I wanted to feature a gospel choir. I had the melody. The orchestration I was really happy with as well. But I just felt that it could be embellished by this other entity, as it were, and just introducing that kind of the embodiment of that classical soul. And I love gospel choirs. I love soul music in general. And I suppose when it all came together and I wrote the words and I deliberated for a long time about the words, I think that, and I'm often asked about the words actually. So I think One Life, something about healing, and you can see I've thought about this deeply. But it's just, the words came to me and they felt really true and authentic. And one was a kind of central theme of that lyric. And so that's how the title came to be named. And as I say, at one point I was going to call the album One, but it just didn't quite get over the line.
So in this case, was it title following the music and music following the title?
Music title with this one.
Amazing. And how did you come up with the theme?
Well, the theme was, I guess it was born out of improvisation and just musing on, so it goes roughly like this, doesn't it? That kind of thing, very, very pop-esque. Shifting between those two harmonic points. And use of suspension as well in the harmony with the orchestra, which we'll come on to later, I'm sure. But it was essentially an improvisation, but using that sort of 4/3 suspension points as well, just to create that kind of almost Bachian kind of references in there as well.
Nice. I had no idea Bach was the inspiration for this track.
He loved gospel choirs, didn't you know?
Yeah, I mean, the theme is so beautiful. And then the middle, it's like this burst of color comes in with like the strings and then the choir. Like, what made you think I need, all of this?
I wanted it to explode into life. There are points, sometimes I have to pull myself back. There are points when I just want to bring in the band and just say, come on lads, just, fill your boots. This is that bring in the band moment. It's for me, the classical equivalent of that, where you have the choir, almost like sort of Gabrielli choir moment, and you have the orchestra, and then you have the piano. So I guess this is as close as I'll get to rocking out on a track. There aren't many, but this is as close as I'll get, and I really, really enjoyed all of those different elements coming together. And I've got to say, when we recorded One in the studio, we did it in North London, actually, in this studio called Masterchord, and the gospel choir came in, and I chose them all individually with the help of SONY. So I've sent all of their profiles online, and yes, this one here, and I listened to them all sing. So this was like a super duper, they were just incredible voices. And I've never led, and I suddenly realized, of course, I've got to do all the choir warm-ups before the session, because as I say, I'm producer for the session. And I'd never done that before for a gospel choir. And so it's really just trying to exude that air of confidence that I do this all the time, folks, choir warm-up, let's do it. And actually I was really quite nervous about doing that, and just doing that with the choir. And in the end, I just went for fun. So we just had so much fun doing the warm-up and laughing. I think mostly they were laughing at me trying to sing, trying to dance around the room. And I was just in awe of their voices. And it was this brilliant, and there's this one moment where the amazing singer did something, and I was just trying to do something over this, and my voice cracked just at the pivotal moment, and it just sounded just horrendous, and the whole choir just cracked into laugh. But it was so great that it did that, because it just broke the ice, and we had an incredible session. They sang their hearts out, and they all took a moment to solo on the track. we kind of almost did this sing-off halfway through when everything had been laid down. So they all did these kind of riffs, and it was just such fun. It was brilliant.
I was going to say, it sounds a bit like that. I was going to ask if it was like exactly that way, like written on purpose, or was it more of a committee thing, like writing like between you all?
Well, no, it was written on purpose, so it was all scored out. And so I then, we did it by producing the various elements in different times. So we recorded it to a T, so everybody singing together, and then we broke it down, various sections, and then we did claps, and then we did stamps, and then we did various nuances within that. And then after that, we did solos, so that we have as much control as possible over the mix elements, the stems, as they call them. And so that, yes, there very much was an improvisatory quality to it in the solos. So I wasn't telling the guys what to sing as they were soloing. So very much riffing and just feeling it and just stepping forward. And it was, yeah, we've got film of it, I think, somewhere. And I was having a whale of a time, I think. I hope they were too.
Nice way to find it, intercut it right there.
Yeah.
Where did the lyrics come from?
So the lyrics came from me, and I wrote them, and just it's talking about climate change, essentially being keepers of the earth, and essentially that's what they're about. At various points, I do lean on my son for words. He has a way with language. He's a beautiful writer, and also he listens to lots and lots of contemporary music as well. But I felt I could handle this one, and as there weren't many words, I felt I could do a good job. And also, I didn't want to pay him 50%. That's the main reason.
Amazing. This burst of colour is it's really quite brief within the whole track, I found anyway.
Yeah.
Was there a reason for that?
Well, I suppose when a track is 3 minutes long, you have to apportion judiciously, and you can't, can you ever have too much gospel choir? When does it become too much? When is it too little? And so I was trying to find that point of just enough gospel choir. Often I've had qualities like people say to me, I could have heard more gospel choir. But I think they appear twice in the song, if I recall correctly, maybe not. But certainly I would love to work with a gospel choir again and feature them in another song. Maybe on the next album, maybe not. Have to see.
And any other thoughts or memories about recording or writing?
Just, one in particular. When we recorded the track with the gospel choir, we invited them all to come in to the control room, the entire choir, and listen there. And I think there's a photo of that as well. And they all listened so beautifully, and it was just a really special moment of, I don't suppose I've ever done that really before. When you record with an orchestra, you never listen back with the orchestra, having everybody in the room, it's that kind of team, really special moment for me.